get your butt kicked, how are you going to respond to that?
I'm not happy. You absolutely can't do that as a GM.
The stakes were very high.
Anyone know how much time is left?
This is GM School, powered by SAP. Hey guys, good morning. Morning. You've been chosen because you represent a new kind of basketball fan. You're into the stats and the numbers, the analytics.
I'm Matt. I've been a basketball fan my entire life.
I stopped playing because I didn't quite make the high school team, but you always try and find ways to stay involved in a game that you're so passionate about. Math has always been something that I've been fairly good at. I was a finance major in college, went into consulting, and when I started to see how analytics can be used to play the game more efficiently, it just seemed like a natural opportunity to use a skill set and transfer that over to a sport that I love. It's the only avenue left for me in basketball.
If people were going to say that I was too young to be a GM, I'd probably say they're right. But my analytical background would overcome the age gap. I started a data analytics club. Currently, we have over 170 members, but I'm a bigger nerd for basketball. Analyzing correlations and statistical relations, I try to predict which team has the best probability of winning. I want to prove to people that it's not about age, it's just about analytics, how much you love the game and passion.
I'm Nicole from Maywood, Illinois. Basketball to me is my everything. I had a lot of hardships growing up, and basketball is a form of therapy. We would roll through the projects of Chicago and just like run the court. I definitely don't think anyone walked my path, and it can make my view of the game unique. The NBA can use some young creative minds like myself, like for real, for real.
Hey everyone, my name is Mo. I am from Las Vegas via Manila, Philippines.
I'm a radio DJ.
That is a very awful answer.
I host a morning radio show about basketball.
You see that building right over there? That's the NBA office. This is a really exciting thing. This stuff is a big deal.
I might not be the best in analytics. There are gonna be some nerds here, sorry guys, but playing fantasy basketball for about 23 years now.
Pre-internet, right?
I think all of those things kind of help get me into a position where I can do this for a living.
I hope you brought your game face and your knack for numbers, because that's the knowledge we're going to be testing here today. SAP, the power behind the NBA stats, is giving today's winner the ultimate chance to start his or her career in professional basketball.
It would absolutely be a dream job to work at the NBA headquarters. I'm here to win this competition.
There's gonna be some brilliant competition here, but I think I know my stuff.
You guys ready for your first challenge?
Yes!
Bring it. David Griffin! As the former general manager for the Cleveland Cavaliers, David Griffin helped build a team that won an NBA championship.
Of course, I'm very, very excited. And then I see the cameras are flashing and the hot seat. This is gonna be a press conference challenge.
Ooh. Part of being a GM is handling the media. And your first challenge is going to be handling a post-game press conference.
I'm a little nervous about this press conference. I'm comfortable explaining things to clients, but I'm not used to doing it on a podium.
What this is an opportunity for you to tell your fans and all the interest groups that are involved the vision you have for your franchise.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll see. You'll each take a turn in the hot seat. The rest of you will have to wait your turn on the bench. Mo, you're up first.
Let's do it. And I'm thrilled. This is definitely something that I've had experience with. So this should be a walk in the park.
Now, Mo, I already know you have a successful radio show. You already have media experience.
He's done this. He's got his radio shows. I mean, he just looks like a natural up there.
I am a little worried.
Since you've been on the other side, what do you think is the best advice for handling media, especially one that is aggressive?
Keep your cool. Understand that this is an exchange of information. I'm just there to give that information in a concise, respected way.
I'm focusing, and I feel comfortable sitting at the table.
We are now going to look at a box score. Go to nba.com/stats. It's LA Clippers, Dallas Mavericks. The Clippers went 6 for 20 from three-point range. How did that affect the game?
I think what we can see from this stat sheet is that, as soon as the bench guys, and I think they closed here with Montrell and Lou, they were able to still kind of rebound the ball well.
in a span of 10 seconds. I don't even know what I'm saying, and I can't control it.
You have assist numbers from both Tobias. Danilo Gallinari was able to look like he had an all-around game, and I like that they shot 80% from the free throw line.
So one thing that I would do, Mo, if I'm you, is I would say less.
Noted.
So Griff tells me to say less. Maybe I'm not so good as I think I am.
Hello, Matt. We're gonna take you straight to a box score. Sacramento Kings, they won against the Memphis Grizzlies 102-99.
He actually looks the part. Look at his poise.
What role did turnovers play in this game?
Memphis only took 18 turnovers on only 80 field goal attempts. Sacramento, 9 turnovers, 88 field goal attempts. So that percentage is actually even more than double in terms of their actual turnover rate. But when you turn the ball over at that rate, it limits the amount of shots you can get. It's just really hard to overcome that kind of obstacle. I'm able to just sort of dive into the numbers. I feel comfortable explaining those numbers. So I think it gets off to a good start.
In the consulting world, they pay you to come in and be smarter than them. Players don't believe you are. So how do you reach these guys and make them follow you?
I don't know that I would be the one necessarily going to the individual player. I think the coaching staff is better equipped to handle the conversations with the players.
He spoke about connecting with players, and his answer is, I care more about connecting with the coaches. Lack of communication has caused a lot of issues.
Hi, Nicole.
Hey, how you doing? When I first sit down, I'm feeling confident, and I'm just like, I got this.
There's a smile, she looks composed.
You have a box score there.
Chicago Bulls, they were playing the Orlando Magic. The Bulls won by 10, 90-80. What are the first things, the first stat columns you check?
So they fire a question at me, and my mind goes completely blank. Sorry, 1 second. I don't feel like it was enough assists for the guards. So that's where I primary focus on.
She looks intimidated a little bit by looking at that box score.
When I get frazzled, kind of heartbroken, but I've been through so many hardships in life that I need to think of the bigger picture.
I'm a rookie, very promising, and I started off the season pretty strong, but right now I'm in a slump. As the GM, what's that conversation you need to have with me?
I need to get it done. I mean, I'm gonna focus on the success that that player had before that got them to the NBA. I work in professional development and bring out people their best attributes. So my job is typically to just be authentic. Throughout my whole life, I've kind of been underestimated, but I never back down from a challenge, and that has always gotten me very far.
All right, well, thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you.
And you're done.
Can I have done better? Yes, I always feel like I can do better. I don't even cry, but I feel like it's so much riding on it. It's a lot.
This is definitely not one of my strengths, but I feel pretty confident when it comes to numbers and the strategy.
There's an intimidation factor for me there going, okay, I gotta watch out for Anisha.
So we've got a box score.
It is the Pacers beating the Brooklyn Nets 114-106.
What facet of the game did you think Brooklyn beat the Pacers in?
Do you mind repeating the question? It starts out a little slow.
Tell me what's going on in your head.
Say that in.
So, Anish, I was just curious about the NBA game predictor algorithm that you work on. What is that exactly, and how do you think that could be useful for you as a GM?
I wanted to see what winning would highly correlate with. And you'd see, okay, you only have 5 people that can do it. The more possessions you have, the more chances you get to shoot more points. But defensive rebounding is really high. For example, Brooklyn has 5 when Indiana has 10. And then convert that into contested threes. A lockdown 3.
So
because they only took 31 attempts, it's correlated that a higher field goal percentage goes with a more open shot. I'm speaking like I'm talking to someone from my data analytics club and not Ross. It's basically how to get the most points. So yeah.
Well, I'm still confused by your answer to the first.
He doesn't understand what I'm saying, and I'm feeling like I've messed up big time.
All right, David, this is your seat. So taking all of that into consideration, what stood out about each of our contestants in this press conference? And what did you not like?
Well, first of all, the 4 of them together are the complete package. I think Mo, he's so good, casually speaking, but I thought he was nervous, and I think you tend to say too much.
Matt did really well. He had the numbers communicated in a way that was easy to digest.
But Matt really didn't emote a lot. Those things really do matter, and Nicole is all about that.
I find her incredibly confident and inspiring when we don't have to talk hardcore basketball data, numbers, and analytics. So, Anish, there were times where I felt like strategically he was onto something, but I felt his ability to communicate was confusing.
I agree.
All right, taking all of that into consideration, let's call him back in.
Sounds good.
The good news is all 4 of you proved that you belong here.
Mo, you can tell that you're comfortable in front of the media. You're very conversational. You made eye contact.
I found you very likable, but sometimes it was too much talking, a little bit of ramble.
Matt, we actually tried to rile you up, and you didn't change a beat, and that's a really good trait to have. The one thing that I do worry a little bit about is your ability to emote passion.
As a human being, with the lack of immediate emotion or warmth, you weren't likable.
That was really awkward.
Nicole, so we talked about emoting. You made me feel like you could lead me somewhere. You can't really teach that.
But felt like you got lost a lot in the box score analytics.
Prove to us what you know.
Anish, all of the substance is clearly there. I think the numbers are so clear in your mind that you don't enunciate what you're seeing to the rest of us.
The person who ranked #1 is Matt.
I knew it.
This is the best start that I could have possibly imagined. It gives me a boost of confidence going forward.
Person who ranked #2 is Nicole.
Wow.
The contestant that ranked #3 today is Mo. I'm sorry, Anish. That does mean you ranked last in this challenge.
It's a bitter pill to swallow.
But no one's going home yet. You got another shot.
I was sweating.
You still have a chance to prove yourself in future rounds.
Thank you.
But that ranking will influence the next challenge.
I'm told that I need to have more substance, which I never heard that before, and I need to come more with this data and analytics. Next round, that's what I'm gonna focus on. Hi.
Welcome to Draft Night.
Wow.
For our second challenge, you'll be in search of the next great player. And your judge is Evan Wash. For the NBA, he is the Senior VP of Basketball Strategy and Analytics. So from a pool of fictional players, you guys are going to make a first-round pick and then a second-round draft pick. 15 minutes per round to finalize your picks. You've been provided with tablets loaded with simulated advanced stats, as well as binders filled with scouting reports and box scores. Blue binders are for round 1, and red binders are for round 2, so don't get confused.
You'll be judged on your statistical analysis and, of course, your ability to communicate your draft strategy and your picks in a clear and concise manner.
So Matt, since you finished in first place in our last challenge, you will have the #1 draft pick. Your time starts now. Evan, back in the day, we used to say numbers people, analytics people were like numbers nerds, you know, but it's not like that anymore. The casual fan has an appreciation for analytics now.
That's absolutely right. I think what you've seen in the last decade or more across all sports is really the familiarization of fan bases with the numbers and the data. And so what we've been able to do at the NBA is, working with SAP, provide tremendous depth of data, and there you can find basic statistics as well as the more advanced and even player tracking statistics. So you can literally get lost in that site for hours, and I've done it, so I know you can.
Speaking of NBA.com, we have a surprise for our contestants. The fictional players they're selecting aren't fictional at all. They're real NBA stars. But we've only given our contestants the players' early career stats, so they'll need to dive deep to find hidden potential.
I get the first pick in this draft, which is great, right? I get to take the best player off the board. Makes it easier for me. I don't have to scout everyone that everyone else has to go through. Downside to this, though, is that I have the last pick in the second round. It really means that I have to nail this first overall pick.
I'm trying to drive players that's going to make an immediate impact on my team. I'm not really thinking about the positions as much. Even if they're the same position, I can probably leverage and use them as an asset to trade.
How much time do we have left?
Okay, fine, I bombed, I sucked, I gotta make a run. My strategy for the draft is to pick the best player available, but at the same time anticipate what the two others ahead of me are gonna pick. There's a clear number one pick in my book, and that it's player B. So I'm not gonna go think about it, he's gone. Who do I want next?
I'm looking forward to proving myself, but I don't have the first 3 picks. So I had to use my specialty, reading the data, to find something that the other competitors couldn't. Defense.
Can I use the C? So for player B, what really stands out to me is he's a high usage player. You know that he has to carry a load on the offense, and he's scoring at 14 points per game. And at 6'8", he's able to shoot that 3-ball well, someone that I'm willing to build my team around.
So I really want to look at player D, who's 6'3", and player D has a player impact of 10.4. I want to grab the binders for B and C just to make sure I'm making the right decision. Then when I look at his player impact estimate, player B is really an attractive option for me, actually. I'm evaluating, looking at both players D and C. I think that player B will immediately be scooped up, and I have to have contingency plans and backups.
Player B, my number one choice, but I think he's everyone's number one choice as well. Picking player C here, the plus minus is high, the net rating is high. You know, if Nicole grabs C for me, I'm going J. Clearly, I know one of the two are going to grab B.
If I saw sites of athleticism, right, and a long wingspan, that he'll be really good, I decide player C was my best option. I am very worried that people will pick player C. I know he's a great candidate, so I looked at players E and I because they were really tall and unique in that they were very lightweight.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Pens, pencils down. All right, we are going to lock in those draft picks. And with the number 1 draft pick, Matt.
I will be taking player B.
Now I have to go with my backup.
The number 2 draft pick, it's Nicole.
D.
All right, Mo, number 3 draft pick, it's with you.
Player C.
Oof.
The number 4 draft pick is with Anish.
I'm trying to decide between E and I.
What do you got?
I'm going with player E.
All right, guys, are you ready for round 2? Because time starts now. Just like the first round, contestants are choosing from a group of real NBA stars. But they still think it's a fictional pool, and they only have access to the players' early career stats.
So round 2 starts and I'm thinking, okay, let's pick player I. I think player I is a dark horse pick. Now I have 2 forward/centers, 7'3", 7-foot wingspan. They will be killer on the defensive end.
Who's got binder T, please? Anybody got T?
Oh, T?
Yeah.
My
When
bad.
you're done, when you're
I
done.
got T in my hand.
No worries, when you're done. So round 2 is coming along. I want player T. And in fact, I'm not even making a second choice. It's gonna be player T. The problem is I don't have the first pick in the second round. But when I look at Anish, I saw that he got a bigger guy in round 1. I don't think he's gonna go for the center in round 2. So everything is attractive about player T. This is a gold mine. Like, this is somebody that can change the look of my franchise.
If anybody need the books, let me know. So immediately on my board, I have player M and T. I think they're the most attractive. I really wanted player T. I think they're gonna immediately be scooped up. The best available player was player K. Even though player K is 5'9", I'm looking at his player impact and it's 11.8, and I'm okay with that.
Can you grab M for me? Oh, yeah, thanks.
So round 2 starts, player T is the very first guy I have on the top of my board, but I'm not confident that he's gonna be there. My backup contingency is player M. It's possible that player T and player M aren't there. So my third choice is player O. He shoots the ball really well. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He's got that high usage percentage.
Are we done with picks for the first round? I thought there was 2 picks for...
No, picking for the second round from the red now.
Anish announces to the room that he has miscalculated the rules of the draft, because this is an elimination challenge. And I thought, you're dead.
I have less than 3 minutes left and I look around and I see all these red binders. I think I misunderstood the challenge. This might have cost me the game.
Are we done with picks for the first round? I thought there was 2 picks for...
No, picking for the second round from the red now.
I have less than 3 minutes left, and I look around and I see all these red binders. I think I misunderstood the challenge. I don't know how I blew that one. I need to work really fast. I was amazed at player T's stats, but he wasn't the best fit for my guys that I originally picked. Player M is extremely efficient on the three-point line, so I think he'd be a great addition to my big-sized team. Even though I messed up, I feel like the combination of player E and player M could be really potent.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. We have completed the draft. We are going in reverse order, which means, Anish, you have the top pick of the second round.
I'm going player M.
Okay, of course, I'm not surprised.
And the next pick, Mo.
I'm gonna go player T.
Now M and T are gone. If Nicole picks O, I really don't have much of a backup option here.
Nicole. We have player K here. And finally, last pick. It's with you, Matt.
Player O.
Now that all the picks have been locked in for both rounds of the draft, it's time to defend them to the NBA's Senior Vice President of Basketball Strategy and Analytics, Evan Wash. Welcome, Matt.
Welcome.
How are y'all?
Tell me why you selected player B.
Really what I was looking for is, I think in the modern NBA, what I was trying to craft is a team that played positionless basketball. Player B is a high usage percentage, so you know that he's doing that while carrying a significant load for the team.
Why did you look for someone that maybe has a complementary skill set to player B as opposed to someone who replicates a lot of those skills?
Yeah, I got guys that are 6'7", 6'8", at both of those positions. So I think you could put those one at the 3, one at the 4 with their scoring ability and still put out a really potent offense.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
It feels really terrifying. The advantage, it was great to be able to have my first overall pick, but that advantage just went away in the second round. There obviously is an overlap of skill set there, and that was something that I certainly got pressured on.
What is the philosophy for the type of players you wanted to select?
I want to go with impactful players right now that can do something for my franchise, that can be an asset later down the line if they don't work out here. Player D can make an immediate impact, 21 years old, has some experience playing in college.
And what did you focus on ultimately when making your draft selections?
The player impact estimate is one of the better ways to quantify player abilities. Player D has a player impact estimate of about 10.4, which tells me that he can contribute immediately.
And moving to the second round, you mentioned player K. I understand the need to have a ball handler on the perimeter and have a scorer, but potentially having 2 undersized guards to start to build your team around could be challenging.
I looked at it as like, if they don't work out, it can be, I'm looking at assets to trade eventually. Even though this person is undersized, this person is the most efficient, had the best stats, had the best player impact rating out of the second round that was left. So I went with selecting the best player.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. I go to present my players and I'm immediately hammered because I picked 2 guards that's undersized. I really felt like I defended myself very well in the decision that I made. I'm here to win.
How did you think about player C?
So he had 8.5 net rating, which was the highest of the group. So that tells me good things happen when he's on the court, right? Usage isn't incredibly high at 16.6%, but I still think the other numbers tell me that I have a quality player here.
In round 2, what were you trying to accomplish?
So I was looking for, a difference maker, and I'm really happy with player T. Good size, center position at a 22.7 usage, which is the second highest of the group in the second round. My comp for him would be Nikola Jokic.
Thank you so much, Mo.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yep. I feel really good about this one compared to challenge number 1. If it's a bad pick, it's not a disaster pick, not one that could get me fired.
Hey, Anish.
Welcome. Hey.
So what's your strategy coming into the draft?
Being the 4th pick on the first round, I had a disadvantage. So my mindset was, what is everybody else not thinking of? What are some defensive things that people aren't looking at?
What metrics were you looking at in order to value defense?
So I was looking for someone with a high wingspan. Looking at that, I decided on player E. Because of those metrics, with a 7'3" wingspan, he's able to overcome any guard, right? He's extremely athletic.
Anish, you had the top pick of the second round. Was it all smooth sailing for you?
I was confused about the rules initially. I had a player that I wanted to pick from the first round bracket, and that's what the confusion was about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. You know, Evan, we have a tough decision to make here. Someone has to go home.
There's a lot of people in the basketball analytics space who understand the numbers, but it's really rare to find someone who has that capability and can communicate with players, coaches, and the rest of the front office about what they're seeing and why they're seeing it. So what I was looking for here is someone who could bring the balance of those different skills.
Matt really was able to answer any question we threw at him about his draft. I also loved his ability to have a philosophy and stick with it.
You know, obviously I was fortunate enough in the first challenge, but that doesn't mean anything here now, right? It's just hopeful that player B and player O are able to do something for me, but this was really tough.
Mo, I think when we look at the results-wise of who he ended up with, you can't ignore that he got Kawhi Leonard and Nikola Jokic. And also, he did a great job of explaining himself and his thought process.
I agree.
The mindset is, I want to make sure that I feel good about my chances here. But the reality is the reality. Like, one of us is going to be knocked out here in the next few minutes, and it very well could be me.
He and Nicole were the only ones who had to pick in the middle of both rounds, which made it a little harder. But the way Nicole came in and presented her strategy, she had some good answers, but also some areas where she probably could have improved in her explanation of her strategy.
I don't know if I know this stuff or not. I guess it's in the hands of two other people to let me know. So honestly, I have no clue if I'm going home. I don't even know how I feel, who won, to be honest.
Find out soon.
Anish, I thought, did the weakest job maybe of explaining the strategy, why he picked the players and what he was looking for. He also had the issue where he spent time focusing on the first round because he didn't understand the directions. But of course, he ended up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the best players in the league.
I can't tell if he kind of lucked into that, though.
He may have.
I mean, I just feel like I made too many mistakes in the first round, right, which set me off. And then that mistake where I confused the rules, it's like, it just shows poorly on that I couldn't listen. And I think that might be what gets me eliminated.
I hope you all enjoyed the opportunity to make your picks in a draft. The stakes were very high because after this challenge, one of you is going home.
Each of you has made a really strong set of picks here, and I'm very impressed with what you did. But before we get to the judging, we actually have a little surprise for you. So we told you guys that we were providing a ton of data on these fictional NBA players. Well, guess what? Each player on the board, and the ones you didn't select, represents an actual NBA player.
That makes me really nervous.
And we provided you the early career stats for those players.
Tatum and Middleton are a great 3-4 combo. It's sort of exactly how I envision.
I picked Giannis and Malcolm Brogdon, and I was stoked.
I picked Donovan Mitchell, because that's what I do. I could pick players.
I said Nikola Jokic as player T in my defense. So to get that right is another big win for me.
And remember, we'll be judging you not so much on the pick that you had or even the player that you ended up with, but the strategy as well.
We've seen your picks, we've heard your reasons, and we had to make one choice. And the winner of this challenge is Mo. Congratulations.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No big celebration right now. Calm down. I'm within striking distance. The momentum is on my side. I am ready to rock.
So Mo, I think what stood out to me was your ability to see through some of the more basic metrics. You were able to see beyond the basic numbers. So unfortunately, that means I am the bearer of the bad news. So the person going home will be Anish. You ended up with some great players, but your articulation of your strategy and ultimately the confusion you had about the directions is what put you in this position. So unfortunately, you're the one that's going to be going home.
All right, thank you guys.
I take a lot from this experience. With a little bit of time and some experience, you could definitely see me around the NBA doing some big things.
You guys think this challenge was tough? Trust me, the biggest challenge is yet to come.
This is just great momentum for Mo. He's a great competitor. I think it's going to make for a really interesting final.
I'm really, really good here. I'm within striking distance. I am ready to rock for challenge number 3.
Of course I deserve to win. These guys are going down.
Oh, it's Kevin McHale.
Kevin McHale, guys.
This is bigger than life.
He doesn't bite.
No, not much.
He might box you out.
I don't know, I could take you.
To look up, and it's Kevin McHale, which is unbelievable. You know, he's an NBA legend. He's a multiple champion. He's a Hall of Famer. It's unbelievable to meet him.
Going to be your final challenge, where the rubber meets the road. It's putting together a winning lineup.
I'm feeling confident. I'm like, oh, I got this.
The challenge is called Starting 5. From a limited pool of 150 players, your mission is to choose a starting 5 without going over the cap. You'll need to explain the strategy behind your picks and provide a key stat to support each of your choices. All right, guys, we're gonna give you 30 minutes to analyze the data, to look over some game film, and then present your starting 5. Time starts right now.
I don't have a pen.
All right, here we go.
When you're creating a starting 5, what are the first things you consider?
It's not the 5 best players. It's the 5 players that play the best together. You know, who do you have that you're going to build around?
I personally value a strong defensive game. And if I can build around a dominant offensive force, Anthony Davis is both elite offensively and defensively. So I'm focusing on his usage rate, right? I want to make sure that everything about him is really used to its capacity. We're going to play a strong defensive game and a fast-paced offensive game where all of the players can create.
Okay, so my philosophy is to put together undervalued players that can make an impact now. So I'm looking at Ben Simmons, and I see an up-and-coming star. I don't necessarily see the floor, I see the ceiling. I love his field goal percentage because it's 57%. He's gonna be aggressive and attack whoever's guarding him. I definitely have a vision for what I believe this team could be. They're a bunch of undervalued, underutilized talent.
So I know that I'm looking for guys that are probably at least 6'6" or above. I want guys that can switch, so I want guys that can shoot and that can defend a bunch of different positions. Someone who can bring that level of positionless basketball. The first name that pops into my mind is Kawhi Leonard. You know, I wanted a wing, someone who can defend and who can also score. He's great at getting to the free throw line. And now I've got the team that I wanted. Everyone's between 6'6" and 6'8". 4 out of the 5 guys shoot the 3-ball really well. This is a team that's made for today's NBA.
All right, 10 seconds left.
I look at it and I think it's perfect. Okay, no, this is a good team. In fact, this is the best team.
3, 2, 1. All right, guys, time's up, hands up. Okay. You have now completed the 3rd and final challenge.
You know, I feel good about the guys that I've picked, and I feel really confident about that philosophy, and I hope that it's a winning philosophy.
I'm now more concerned, like the mind shift from picking a team to how to defend it,
Right.
because that's half as important as picking a solid team.
I feel confident in my vision, but I don't know how well it's gonna translate. Maybe I bit off a little bit more than I can chew.
The moment has arrived to defend your team. And this time, it'll be in front of all 3 judges, Kevin McHale, David Griffin, and Evan Wash.
I want to start by telling you guys that I wanted to build an excellent defensive team that was built around an NBA superstar. Anthony Davis, all his stats are sexy. So I want usage rate because I want him to be involved as much as possible. I'm pairing these 2 guys to be a feared front court defensively, always knowing that Anthony Davis is going to get his on the offensive end.
I see a team that you can get out and go with.
What are the weaknesses of this team?
I would say a bit more reliable scoring.
So can you identify for me who is the second option?
I mean, if I can get these guys to be open with the amount of ball movement that he creates, Ingles still averages, what, 4.7 assists per game. So he can get the ball to some of these younger guys with that kind of offense. I think he's averaging 1.7 this year.
So who is, again?
I would go J.J. Redick. I would go Joe Ingles. I'm sorry about that. J.J. Redick, Joe Ingles, very, again.
I'm nervous when I'm presenting because I'm not sure if I'm articulating my vision right.
Draymond Green, and I understand you wanted him for defense. What sort of made you gravitate towards net rating?
It's a personal favorite of mine. It shows me that he's involved on both sides of the court. So I went with 10.5 net rating because that's the 4th best in the NBA with players over 30 minutes. Just to reiterate what my strategy here was, I want the ball moving. I want any guy here except J.J. Redick can grab a rebound and facilitate and start and go. And I thought that was an ideal choice.
First impression most people probably get when they look at my team is, like, why? I see this as a team, like, not necessarily have a superstar, but I built my team to develop some of my players that I feel like have a lot of potential.
Talk about the projection you have for Ben.
I believe he's, I didn't even look at my, sorry. Where did I put him?
Talk about the projection you have for Ben.
I believe he's, I didn't even look at my, I start second guessing myself. I'm feeling like I should have spent more time focusing on the stats and the attributes, and then I realized that I have to be confident in what I picked and I have to defend that. So I have Simmons currently right now. He's averaging 16.4, 9 and 8. And he has a high impact, player impact rating. Ooh, that was painful.
Who's your go-to?
On any screens or pick and rolls, no matter who's given a screen or pick and roll, with the exception of Ben Simmons, everyone on this floor can shoot three-pointers. And I felt like since he has such a high percentage, any drives or any cuts, he will be able to score as far as Ben Simmons.
I wanted versatility, the ability to play that positionless basketball that you see today in today's NBA, switch defensively. That's how I envisioned my team.
Got Kawhi Leonard and free throw rate. Talk to me about that number.
He's taking about 18 shots a game, but in addition to that, he's taking 8 free throws. He can get into that lane, and you've got someone like Joe Harris who's shooting 48% from 3. I think it can really collapse a defense.
I would be afraid with this team that you're going to get into a slow down, grinded out type game.
I feel really confident about the ability to put either Kawhi or Lonzo in the pick and roll with Montrez.
Who's taking it out? Who's advancing the ball?
I think Lonzo Ball is the one bringing the ball up.
Are you asking your bigs then to take it out and find Lonzo Ball? Or are you asking the nearest guy to the ball to get it in? Do you have multiple ball handlers?
I'm fair with anyone taking it out and anyone bringing it up except Montrez. I don't think I want Montrez running the break for me necessarily.
I would not have a designated ball handler. I would tell Montrez, hey, don't get a defensive rebound, push it up.
And I think pace is the way that we'd like to play.
It's a regular season fun team up and down.
Your goal is to win a championship, not to just make the playoffs. It's a little bit devastating.
Really enjoyed watching them all break down their selections, but whose team did you think was the best team?
Nicole's team stood out to me, and it's the only one that has the potential to look really different and better 2 or 3 years down the road.
She's placing a lot of value on their ability to do more in more minutes.
I've seen so many players that had a great role on a team leave to go to another team and just disappoint.
So I took a risk. That's who I am. I wanted the judges to see my vision.
I really thought that Mo did a good job. Draymond Green and Anthony Davis are locking down the paint. I mean, he really hit on that. To me, this team is the best team.
Unless another competitor picked the same exact team, there's no way a team can be concocted better than the one I came up with.
Matt, I think it was the most cohesive story, how they fit together on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I thought that was the best use of analytics.
I came into this challenge with a clear thought for how I thought a team needed to be built and what a successful team needs to look like in today's NBA.
So which do you prefer in your GM?
Can't really give you a solid negative on Mo. His strengths might not be quite good enough.
He's balanced, right? I think that's his biggest strength. And he's got a personality that I think would enamor him to all the people that he'd be working with. And I just think that he needs more reps and he needs to build the trust in himself and sell that to a team.
I knew what I wanted. I knew the guys who I wanted. I knew why.
I think Nicole is almost the polar opposite. If there's a crisis, I want her carrying the banner for our franchise because everyone's going to believe it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Nicole, you need to continue to build out subject matter expertise. You want to have people have the sense that you know what you're talking about.
I don't know how I feel about my roster because when you look at it, you go, oh man, like what's she thinking?
She's a home run hitter, man. But just being around the league a long time, man, the rock steady, just getting your work done, I think Matt, to me, was the guy.
And the last phrase that was said that I really wanted to respond to was Kevin McHale turning to David Griffin and going, this is a regular season team, not a playoff team.
Guys, I'm struggling a little bit with Matt. He's so flat. Could he reach your star player? Could he convince you of his position?
We have to make a decision, guys.
I'm worried because Mo won the second challenge. He took a really similar strategy to what I took, but I'm here to win this competition.
I absolutely feel like I deserve to win it. I'm delivering a championship caliber team.
I swung for the fences. I'm here and I have a vision. I want this.
All right, contestants, you made it through our 3 challenges, and the moment of truth has arrived. Only the GM School champion will go on to meet with the executives who hold the key to a job in the NBA. For one of you, this could be the beginning of a legendary career in professional basketball. Judges?
Mo, I think you were terrific throughout this. Your ability to really have a philosophy, stick to it, and understand the way the analytics work within it. But your clarity of message and the way you deliver it gets lost a little bit. Nicole, you were fantastic in your ability to emote leadership. You know, that moment when the hair on the back of your neck stands up and you know she's taking you somewhere, you've got that. You did focus on undervalued and underutilized. And I think that's a really good thing, but I also think it can be a blind spot sometimes. Matt, I felt like you were very good. I think your grasp of the analytics is very clear. You were unflappable throughout this. But I think you do come across at times as very, very flat. I think you do have to work on emoting a little bit.
No matter who takes home the W, I think I speak for everybody here when I say there's a lot of talent here and a lot of potential. But there can only be one winner of GM School powered by SAP. And that winner is Matt.
Very good, man.
Congratulations.
We talked about if we could blend the 3 of you, it's the super GM, right? I have no doubt in my mind that all 3 of you could play a major role in any NBA front office.
So how does it feel, Matt?
It feels great, I'm not gonna lie.
If you became a GM, what would you like to achieve?
Well, I'd hire Mo and I'd hire Nicole. You know, I think that'd be a great front office there. You know, I've wanted to be a GM for years now. To win makes me feel like, you know, maybe this is a possibility that I could do. My name is Matt Ellis, and I am the GM School champion.